YouTube, what's going on YouTube? What is going on? What is happening, man? Of course, it's your guy one more time, DEDRICKHICKSJR, and I'm back with another fragrance video. Smell good family. Hopefully everyone is doing well, doing great, doing fantastic. And of course, it's positive energy and it's positive vibes only. All right, so smell good family. I've been kind of diving back into the designers. Admittedly, I had, just not been excited for a lot of them, but a handful of them over the past year and a half. Really, I'm fans of. So I've talked about them: Polo 67, Boss Bottle Elixir, the new Strong With You Parfum. Those are just some of the ones that stand out at the top of my head right now. But I just got to thinking, man, I was looking at all my designers in my collection, and I just want to talk about, at one point in time, man, like it was just a no-brainer for you to go to Dillard's or Macy's and find a nice, dope designer fragrance, man. And these 10 that I'm going to be talking about today, they're truly the best of my collection. This was a hard video to do. I could have did a top 15, could have did a top 20. If you want a part 2 of this, then just let me know, and we can make it happen. But these are 10 of the very best designers that I've ever experienced, that I've worn in many different situations, and they truly have a special place in my heart. So rooting for the designer fragrance brands to really, come up with some dope stuff and continue to pour it out into the community. So that's just what I'm rooting for, man, and we'll see what happens. But let's go ahead and tap in. Up first, we're going to get, 2 out the way. These are top 10 in my collection. Some of the greatest designers ever. These houses are spectacular. But this particular fragrance is my #1 pound for pound fragrance. You know what it is already if you've been rocking with me. Let's not waste no time. From the house of Chanel, we're talking Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Bleu de Chanel Parfum. It's just no secret my love for this fragrance. My appreciation for this fragrance, man. I am such a huge fan of the DNA overall, from the EDT to the EDP into the Parfum. This is a 10 out of 10 fragrance for me. This is something that will always be in my collection, and you can take them all away and you can leave me this. Out of everything that I've smelled, from niche to designer to clones to whatever, like, this is my #1. I am truly have a true connection with this. I've worn this for a lot of special occasions in my lifetime. This version is you get this very citrusy, woodsy, cashmerean, just beauty. The greatest blue fragrance ever created, in my opinion. And Bleu de Chanel Parfum is just a one of one to me. It is fantastic. Of course, it's one of the greatest designer fragrances that I have in my collection. One of the best of the best. The best. From the house of Chanel, Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Bleu de Chanel Parfum. All right, up next, this is another top 10. This is the greatest Irish fragrance that I own in my collection. And it's not close. This is that designer niche level designer niche take that I talk about, that I have talked about on this channel. And it just doesn't get any better than this. And for me, it's just outstanding. From the house of Dior, we're talking Dior Homme Parfum. Dior Homme Parfum, and this is the 2014 version, I believe. And what the iris and the leather do in here is absolutely phenomenal, man. It is phenomenal, man. I wore this a couple of weeks ago, and I was just absolutely just living and loving my sillage and the scent trail that I was leaving for myself. This is a great fragrance. Very sexy, very dark, very just great. It's just great. One of the greatest creations in this fragrance space ever, if you ask me. And it's just the greatest iris. I love Dior Homme Intense. I love Dior Homme, the original Dior Homme that has that fresher take on the DNA, but there isn't nothing like this. From the house of Dior, we have Dior Homme Parfum. Again, I think this is the 2014 version. There's a handful of versions, so I think that is a 2014, 2016, just Dior Homme Parfum. All right. Up next, man, one of my favorite leather fragrances. This is the one that I fell in love. This made me fall in love with leather. this made me fall in love with leather, and I'm very appreciative of just this overall profile. It is a gentleman's classic. It is spectacular. From the house of Tom Ford, we're talking ombre leather, the EDP. The EDP. This stuff is outstanding. The saffron, the white florals that gives this this kind of fluffy freshness with the spices that are going on in here. That black leather note in here. It's just sensational. And like I said, for me, this is Tom Ford has a lot of great fragrances, man, a lot, but this is top 3 ever from the house. And this is what made me fall in love with the leather, pushing me in the direction to discover more leather. And I'm forever thankful for my experience with this fragrance, and it just still does its thing in my collection. So a borderline top 10 in my entire collection, probably right outside top 50, no, right in that top 15 range. But this is just one of the greatest creations from the designer lane in fragrances, and it's just incredible, man. I love this stuff. You can dress this up, you can wear this casually. Just a lot of pluses when you're talking about ombre leather, and it definitely has to make this video, like, for sure. From the house of Tom Ford, we're talking ombre leather, the EDP. All right, up next, another best of the best. This is the best of the line, if you ask me. This is a legendary line, a classic line. There's a lot of bangers from this collection, but to me, this is the very best. From the house of Paco Rabanne, and now going by Rabanne, we have 1 Million Lucky. Man, come on, man. Come on, man. What we talking about, man? What we talking about? Plum, hazelnut, honey. It's just absolutely incredible. One of the most sexiest fragrances you'll ever get your nose on. Compliment magnet. For me, this is a winner. For my wife, she loves this. And it's just a true enjoyment. One of the first plum fragrances that really kind of got me in a direction of really searching for more plum, and this still holds weight. Date night exclusive for me. My wife is a fan of this for real, and so am I. And I've been out in restaurants where a waitress has, hey, I told my wife I don't want to be rude or disrespectful, but who's smelling good and what is that? And 1 Million Lucky was the scent of the evening. So this is one of the greats. This stuff is fantastic, and I just absolutely love it. Of course, it is one of the best of the best, and the best of the line for me. From the house of Paco Rabanne, now going by Rabanne, we have 1 Million Lucky. Thankfully, this is not being discontinued at the moment, so it is readily available, because I remember those talks that 1 Million Lucky was getting up out of here, but it is still available for sure. All right, up next, this might be a surprise to some, but when I first got this fragrance and I smelled it, I was truly in awe of this creation. Now, the name of the fragrance doesn't really match what it does, but I can care less. From the house of Prada, we have Prada Luna Rossa Oceans, the EDT. The EDT. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but I have about a quarter of this fragrance left. When I first got my nose on it, I went and purchased this retail. I got a sample of it from one of my good friends from Frag Boys ENT. Shout out to my man's Kevin if he sees this. But I was just so blown away. The iris in here is like a fresh earthy iris that's really clashing with some sweetness from some caramel. You get some woods in here. There's a suede leather accord in here, some spicy sweet saffron as well. A very complex designer. Again, it does not suit the name. The commercials and everything that Jake Gyllenhaal had going on, it just doesn't match this fragrance at all, but I don't care. There are more versions in EDP and a parfum of this, but to me, this is the standout of the line. Out of the EDP and the parfum, this is the standout of the line. This stuff is sensational. I am a huge fan, and for me, it's one of the top fragrances from the designer world that I've ever got my nose across and I've ever experienced. So this is my list, and this is making it. From the house of Prada, we have Prada Luna Rossa Oceans, and that is the EDT. And again, I have worn this fragrance out. I have about a quarter, maybe a quarter, like right here. This fragrance is literally right here. Let me put it in for those. It's literally right here. I've worn this a lot and I will continue to. I'm gonna get back to that one for sure. Up next, a discontinued king. It's a sad, sad ordeal that this is no longer readily available. They have pushed out different versions of this fragrance, but it just doesn't hit like the original. From the house of Giorgio Armani, we have Acqua di Gio Profumo. Profumo, man. It's sad that you can't get this. This is the best take on the DNA. I love Absolute as well, but this is the best take, in my opinion. Absolute is fire, but here we go. Just the mere fact that this is a spiky, smoky, aquatic. That's what this is. The patchouli, the incense in here. You still get that sea salty breeze, ocean, aquatic type of vibe. This stuff is insane. It is still insane to me how they were able to flip this DNA into this, a more darker, denser take on a classic. Acqua di Gio is probably the most recognizable fragrance ever. It is probably the most recognizable fragrance ever. But when they rolled this out, a legend was truly born with this one. But then they took it away. So they tried to give us a parfum take. Even the new elixir kind of reminds you of this, but ain't nothing like this. So I'll have to wear my bottles sparingly. You can't, I think bottles of this are floating around for like $400, $500. I don't think it's worth that much. But I ain't gonna lie. If there was a 75 ml out there for like 150, 160, I'd cop it. I'd cop it and put it in the tuck. So wearing this sparingly, it's sad that it's gone, but it is undoubtedly indeed one of the greatest designer fragrances ever created. One of the best for sure. From the house of Giorgio Armani, we have Acqua di Gio Profumo. Profumo, man. God, amazing. All right, up next, another best of the best. I think this is the best out of its entire line. And when this DNA rolled out initially, it was a game changer, especially for the masculine man who was looking for something that would hold its masculinity, but still give you a pop of fun, a pop of, maybe fun and friendly, and maybe not too serious, and something on a casual day that you can wear this fragrance and still keep your mystique. From the house of Viktor & Rolf, we have the original Spicebomb. This is the best. This is the best. The Extreme and all those other ones, the infrared EDP, which is fire. The night vision EDP, which is fire. This is the best. It's just a wonderful combination of sparkly citruses, spices, leather, just outstanding, man. This is to me, you can wear this every day. I have even worn this in the high heat and it did beautiful. It was marvelous how great that this did in the high heat. Of course, I dialed back my sprays. I went 3 sprays and it absolutely performed like a champion and not inoffensive. And it is just one of those ones. This never gets talked about. It never gets talked about. But it's something to say about this original DNA, this original fragrance that kicked off a lot of legendary fragrances that you guys love. But for me, this is one of the best designers I've ever got my nose on and best designers that I've ever experienced overall. From the house of Viktor & Rolf, truly, in my opinion, the best of the line. We have Spicebomb, the original EDT. The original EDT. Banger, man. If you ain't got your nose on it, I highly, highly recommend you do so. All right, up next, I am in love with its new flanker. And I will be getting a full bottle as soon as I see Miss Heather. The next time I see Miss Heather, I will be purchasing a full bottle retail. That's how much I love it. From the house of Emporio Armani, we have Stronger With You, absolutely. That is holding the spot right now. So the parfum is great, but we're going to talk about the absolutely. This was the one that put it over the top for me. I love the original Stronger With You. Love it. But the way this chestnut and rum in here is done, this is what makes me still believe that designers are going to even the score. God, just off the atomizer. A great blend of roasted chestnut and booze. The sweetness that you get in here is so complimentary, man. And then when I smelled the parfum, I was like, man, this is one of the greatest fragrance lines ever. This Strong With You line is one of the best ever. Intensely, the original, the discontinued freeze, the tobacco, the oud, the leather. I mean, it's just outstanding. It's outstanding. And this, as of right now, it's really holding on to being my favorite from the line because of what the parfum does. But I have to explore that a little bit more, and I will. But this right here, when I first got my nose on this, and I lucked up because at the time it was really hard to get the Absolute. It was, I'm talking about really hard. Fragrance that had a drop. I was in Orlando visiting my father, and I was sitting there talking to him. We were about to eat some barbecue, and I was checking my emails, and the email popped, boom, right there. And I said, oh. So my dad, he talking to me about something. I ain't listening. I just was trying to get this and secure it, and I'm glad that I did so. Strong With You, absolutely. From Imperial Armani, absolutely. As of right now, it is one of the absolute best, if not the best ever. All right. So up next, my kids are out there just ruining a masterpiece of a video, but we're gonna keep it rocking. All right. Up next, this is one of this is one of the most hated and booed fragrances that I've ever talked about on this channel. But for me, it is one of the greatest of all time. A masculine gentleman's masterpiece. From the house of Jean Varvatos, we have Vintage. Yes, sir. To me, this is a classic, unique take on a fougere. The tobacco in here, the fruitiness in here, the earthy, spicy green tones here. This smells like money. This smells like money, man. That's just the best way that I can describe it. Money. This is a man who, I say this with certain fragrances, he knows where he's came from, he knows where he's going, and he does not need your assistance getting there. He has done the work, he has prepared, he is ready to take on the next level of his life. And this is a fragrance that just kind of resembles that for me personally. This stuff is outstanding. It is outstanding. And this is one of those fragrances that I have been badgered on this channel throughout the years. But I don't care. I love what I love. You love what you love. But this is one of the best fragrances from the designer world that I've ever smelled. And I'm so happy to have it. I need to revisit this. I need to take a break and just kind of go back to those fragrances that really, in the beginning of my journey, really captured my attention. And this is one of the ones that captured me. And I was really surprised because I heard the takes on this fragrance. It smells like an old man, an old uncle, And at that time, I was really into freshies and sweeter fragrances. When I got my nose on this, man, I was blown away. And I caught me a bottle online. I got it for like $40 at the time. I think you can still get this for around that same price. But this is a masculine masterpiece. And one of the greatest designer fragrances ever. Performance on Jean Varvatos are not great. I get roughly around 6 hours. I just re-up the sprays, bro. It's not a big deal to me. You get a 100 ml bottle for a reason. So all you performance snobs out there, you know, you want to spray your fragrance to get 49 plus hours of performance. Okay, cool. But guess what? If you only get 5 or 6, it's okay just to re-up a couple sprays. That's what you have 100 mLs for. From the house of Jean Varvatos. One of the greatest designers ever. Jean Varvatos Vintage. Do not debate me. Do not debate me. Debate your auntie. Not me. All right. And last but not least, one of my first real true loves. Signature scents. Love this stuff. I'm surprised that I'm still on this bottle, but I guess I'm really not surprised. As the collection grows, y'all know how it goes, but I love this stuff. I love this stuff. From the house of Coach, we have the original Coach for Men. Man, this is my original bottle of, let's get this in the air. This is my original bottle of Coach for Men, man. You get that pear, that kumquat, just a sweet and clean fragrance. You get a little bit of touch of woods and leather in this fragrance in the base of it. I almost forgot about how great this was preparing for this video. And I used to wear Coach for Men for everything. Everything. At one point in time, this is one of the 5 fragrances that I only had. This Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme, the Usher fragrance, the original Usher Raymond fragrance, Acqua di Gio, and it was a Lacoste that I had. I can't remember. It was a Lacoste fragrance. I can't remember the name. I can't remember the name of it, but I had a Lacoste fragrance, and this is one of the 5. But this was my favorite out of them all, and I wore this and continued to wear this. And then when I set it down for a little bit, and then I met my now wife, then girlfriend, and we were married. And I pulled this back out, and it was a Valentine's weekend. I said, you know what, man? I'm just gonna test the waters, just see how she feels about this. And she loved it, bro. She loves it, loved it. This is just a winner in the community. And again, just like the John Varvatos vintage, I'm going to be tapping back in some of the fragrances that really captivated me before I even thought about doing a video. No smell good effect. It was none of this going on. And Coach for Men, oh yeah, just one of those ones, man, from the house of Coach, one of the greatest. We have Coach for Men. I remember I had a small, like the little gift sets, the little small bottles, and there was one of those in there. And then I ended up getting me a full bottle. So this is my original bottle, but my first experience was the little gift sets. They were about 15, 20 mLs in there, and this was one of those ones, man. So so there we have it. 10 of the greatest designer fragrances that I own, that are in my collection. The best of the best. Really hoping to restore that feeling within the designer world as they continue to hopefully bless us with some great releases. All right. So if you want a part 2, like I said, let me know. I got more. We can talk. I haven't talked a lot of designer fragrance as of much, but I think going back and really revisiting some of the greats could really restore the feeling. It looks like the designer world is getting back on track. I hope. All right. So appreciate y'all, man, for watching. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. Thank you for all the love and support. I don't take it for granted. Always positive energy, always positive vibes. And Smell Good family, y'all are the greatest. Y'all are the best, and I definitely appreciate y'all once again. And as always, splack it up, splack it down, splack that thing all around. And remember, what you put out to this world is exactly what you are going to get back. That's for sure. Peace, y'all. Until next time. Look at me.